Welcome back, guys. So not sure if this is going to turn into much of a video, but I thought I'd film it because it's potentially quite interesting. I've got a 2007 Triumph Rocket 3 here with an oil leak. Not even sure where the oil's coming from yet. I think it might be from the back of the gearbox here. So follow along. I'll move my camera around. I'm on my own, no Benji today. I'll move the camera around them in the workshop, so we should be able to get some reasonably good footage for you. First things first, I'm just going to pop this rubber boot back on here and see if it's coming out of the back of the gearbox. Anyway, let's move the camera and I'll show you what's going on. Right, so we're getting oil appearing down here on this frame, and the guy says after a long run, if you leave it stand, you do get one or two little drips down down on the floor underneath it. So I just want to pop this, pop this boot. Uh-oh, I can smell already. That's not great, not the camera, Jim. I'm assuming it's gearbox engine oil coming from this seal here, but you see that? Get it in focus. Focus on that. Focus. Yeah, pretty oily, and it. Uh-oh. That is not engine oil. That's final drive oil. Anybody that smelt it will know the smell. So potentially there's a problem with the final drive unit, and the oil is coming up the shaft, so to speak. What am I going to do next? Oh, it's thrown me that, because I thought it was probably coming from the because this is I need to check myself, but this is this bearing here, this is engine oil. This is pressure fed, this bearing, from the oil pump, I seem to remember. I better go and check that. So there's no gearbox oil in there like with a conventional bike. It's you know, it's shared. The engine oil and the gearbox oil is shared. It's dry sump, obviously, as you probably already know, but yeah, it's sharing the same oil. So if there's any gear oil here, it has to be coming from that final drive unit. I think I might just pull the rear wheel out of it and pull the drive unit back. It's only 4 bolts, and just have a look at that seal there on the drive shaft. Right, move the camera and onwards. So I must confess, my first thought was somebody overfilled this drive unit with oil. So let's have a goosey gander at this. See if oil comes flooding out. Not that, even if it was full, theoretically, if the oil seal's gone on the drive shaft, still shouldn't end up at the other end, but I'm just curious more than anything. That is a negative. It's not overfull with oil. It's pretty manky in there, but basically the oil level, you probably already know if you're watching this, the oil level, this is the drain bolt here, the oil level should be level with the bottom of the thread. So if you're changing it, drain it all out through this. It's quite thick and gloopy. You're better off having a ride and warming the drive unit up if you're going to change it. Then take this out. You want to leave it for a good hour, so everything, you get as much out as you can. Pop that back in, and then you fill it with fresh oil up to the bottom of the thread. Anyway, that is not, it's not over full, so that is not causing a problem. How strange. I'm going to take this drive unit off now. I'm going to take the rear wheel out and then undo these 4 bolts and remove the drive unit so we can see what's happening with the oil seal on the back here, on the front of the drive unit, where the shaft comes out. Right, onwards. Okay, babe. Okay, babe. You alright?
Yeah.
I've got to come in, have I? Hey? Yeah, they're kind of in the way a bit. Say again?
You might just be able to come and pick them up, and then maybe you could help
Helping with what?
Actually, put them in the shed. Not a Friday because you'll have Sam, but one morning if you drop Sam off first.
Okay.
And then you could, he'll just need to carry them from his car into the shed.
Okay.
Or your car.
Turn this bloody thing off. 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 So Triumph in their infinite wisdom have decided that we can't be trusted to rebuild these drive units. So there's no service information in the Triumph, genuine Triumph service manual for workshops, and there's no parts available. So if that oil seal is leaking in the back of the drive unit, which I'm pretty sure it is, because that's the only place it's getting that hypoid gear oil from, there's no fixing it. It's a new drive unit, which is best part of £1,400 with a VAT, I think. I'll be very interested to see if it is that oil seal, and obviously we can't get bits. I bet I could get that oil seal from somewhere, from a bearings and seals place. Just wondering whether, even though you're not supposed to repair it, might be able to get the seal out without, you know, I've rebuilt not hundreds but more than 50 BMW final drives over the years and various other things. It's not rocket science. So why Triumph have decided to not let us fix these, I do not know. Anyway, onwards. It's actually remarkably easy to get this final drive unit out. The wheel comes out really easily, assuming you've got a ramp to get the bike off the ground and a hole in the ground to get drop the wheel out. If you didn't have that, you'd struggle getting the rear wheel out, I think. Yeah, so rear wheel out, which is literally the spindle. Get the rear caliper out of the way. There's a bolt here for this shock absorber, and then there's 4 bolts that hold it to the swinging arm. And it literally just pops out. Yeah, we'll see. I'm interested to see if it is that seal. I'm kind of half thinking that, how the hell does gearbox oil travel uphill? Because this swinging arm isn't completely flat. It's actually, you know, the rear wheel is slightly lower than the pivot. The centre of the rear wheel where the spindle is slightly lower than the pivot point on the swinging arm. So you'd expect all the oil to run back this way, you know what I'm saying. So I don't know. Let's just get it off and see. Something odd going on. Right. Final, what is that? 14, 17. 17. Final stages now. These 4 bolts, nuts, even. There's little studs and there's a nut on the end. Yeah, those 4, and then we're golden. Hopefully it'll fall out. Right, well, I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure that when you undo these nuts, there isn't supposed to be oil running out of there, or dripping out of there, should I say. Used to. I think we might have a problem. Not happy. Okay guys, so I nearly showed you this coming out the back of the swing arm, but the same little point, I just undid these 4 nuts. It literally just fell out of the back of the swinging arm. Definitely leaking. There's a little bit more oil that came. This is the bottom. There's a little bit more oil that came out of it, but basically the load of oil in the swinging arm, it's leaking from, I don't know whether you can see, there's a seal here, and I got quite excited. I thought, ooh, there's an internal circlip here. I thought, well, I can just change this oil seal, take this internal circlip out, take this internal circlip out, and I'll be able to pop the seal out, and happy days. However, if you look at this noggin, I don't know what the technical name for it is, where it fits into the drive shaft here, it's got a step on it, so I won't be able to get the seal out of the casing, but I won't be able to get it, not the camera, I won't be able to get it past this this flange here, which is a bit of a shame. It does look like it's been pressed together. It's probably this piece and the shaft are separate, but it looks like they're sweated together or something. It's on a spline. There's a spline on this smaller diameter shaft, and then there's an internal spline on this. So it doesn't look like it's coming apart. I could probably get it apart from the inside, but then we'd be interfering with crown and pinion meshing and things. I don't really want to open that can of worms if I can avoid it, if you see what I mean. So it's looking like a new drive unit. If it was my own bike, I'd probably have a stab at repairing it, but there's all sorts of warranty issues and things if I start trying to repair things that technically there's no service information for and they shouldn't be repaired. So yeah, new drive unit, which is a bit of a pain in the cunnilingus, but there you are. That's probably the end of this video. There might be a part 2 to it, but we'll call it quits now and then maybe make a part 2. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my I'm just trying to make this one a little bit more arty, just faffing around with my camera and a bit of lighting to make it nice. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Okay, so just as a little side note before I go, if you're trying one of these yourself and just trying to pull this off the end of the shaft, it's not for coming off. I don't know, you can't really, it's hard to film down in this gap, but it looks like the I've got a lot of pressure on this, by the way. It's, yeah, you're not going to get much more pressure in a, well, you get more pressure in a hydraulic press, but it's not coming off is what I'm trying to say. It's the spline is also peened over down in there, so it's clearly not meant to come apart, but I thought I'd give it a pull, because if I could get that off somehow, I've got half a chance of changing that oil seal. But the fact that the spline is all peened over, thought about maybe putting some heat on it, but I think knowing when to quit is a skill you develop fairly quickly doing this sort of work. So yeah, we're definitely done. Part 2 may be fitting a new drive unit. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.